Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Branches and my name is Alexis Nichols. If you're new here, I am an amateur genealogist, or at least I claim to be, and each week I discuss different things about genealogy. That might be stories from past relatives or the histories of people in my tree, DNA results, everything genealogy related. So enjoy. Today's video is going to be about my DNA results, and I will also be comparing them to my dad, who also took the DNA test, and my aunt, my mother's sister, took the DNA test. I can't convince my mom to take the DNA test. I don't know why she won't do it. We're going to be comparing my DNA results to both my dad and my aunt on my mother's side today. Enjoy, and let's get started. So I took the Ancestry DNA test back in, I think it was 2016. So my results have changed a few times since then. So we'll just be going over my most current results, and it lines up pretty well with what I have in my tree, with a few things I don't really know where it comes from. So those, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't really know how some of these percentages got in here. Also don't know why some other ancestry, some DNA isn't there. I'm curious about that. I guess I just didn't inherit it, but anyway. So my results are 38% England and Northwest Europe, 24% Scotland, 9% Ireland, 9% Norway, 8% European Jewish, 8% Welsh, 2% Swedish, 1% Eastern Europe and Russian, and 1% Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples. I'm a big mixture. But, and it's like that pretty much for my dad and my aunt as well. And let's see. So the England and Northwest Europe, I'm not surprised about. I know that I have a lot of family from England, a lot of family from that area of the world, or ancestors, I should say. And Scotland as well. I'm not really surprised by that either. I do have a good bit of Scottish in my family. I know for a fact that my grandfather, who was an Aitchison, they came from Scotland. And he himself didn't, but down the line he did. And then Irish, again, I'm not surprised about at all, because I know we have Irish lineage in my family, on my father's side mostly. Now, the Norway, however, I don't know where that comes from. I really do not know. It is 9%, so I know that has to be like a third grade, fourth grade, possibly, grandparent. The 8% European Jewish, I do know where that comes from. My dad's grandmother was Jewish, so I do know where that comes from. 8% Welsh, I pretty much know about that one as well. The Swedish, again, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know who was from Sweden in my family. I don't know. Again, Eastern Europe and Russia, it's only 1%, so I know it's like really far back there, but I don't know where that comes from either. It may be tied to my European Jewish. I don't know. And then the Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples, I do know where that comes from as well. My great-great-grandmother was mixed race, and I'm sure, I know that's where that comes from. But yeah, that is my DNA results. And then Ancestry does this other thing, especially if you're from the States. I don't know if they do this for other countries, but they also give you genetic communities. So the 3 genetic communities that I am most closely related to is Mississippi and Louisiana settlers, East Central Louisiana Acadians, I do know about that as well, and Southeast Michigan and St. Louis, Missouri French settlers. I kind of know about those as well. But that is my DNA results. Now, something that did not come up that I was kind of surprised about was German, because my mother's mother's side, there's German. The Kaspers or Caspers. The name changed once they got over here after a while. And I also have other German relations on my dad's side as well. So I don't know why I did not receive, obviously it's just a genetic thing. I didn't receive any German DNA apparently, which is kind of weird. Also French. I have a lot of French in my ancestors as well, but that didn't show up either. I don't know. Maybe they lumped that in with like the Northwestern Europe, possibly. Not really sure. But let's see. Let's compare that to my dad's. Okay, we're going to compare my ancestry DNA results to my dad's. Mine was, again, 38% England, Northwest Europe. My dad's was 46%. I'm not surprised he has a higher percentage. It just makes sense. I have 24% Scottish, and he only has 5% Scottish. And that actually should be about right for him. And then I have 9% Irish, and he has 16% Irish. And that actually makes sense as well. I have 9% Norwegian, Norway, and he has only 2%, which is kind of weird. So I guess maybe I get the other percentage from my mom's side. We'll see. We'll check on my aunts. And then on the European Jewish, my dad has 15% and I only have 8%. And that seems about right. And then Welsh, my dad has 3% while I have 8%. Again, I'm getting some of that from my mom's side, I'm assuming. And then Swedish, my dad has 5% and I only have 2%. So I guess, that'd be about right. And then it goes on. My dad has 5% Germanic European and 3% from France. So I did not inherit any German or French DNA, apparently. Kind of makes me sad, especially the French part. We have a lot of Acadians and Cajuns in my tree. You wouldn't know it looking at me. I definitely inherited a lot of Celtic genes. Okay, let's look at my aunt's, her ethnicity and mine. So I actually have more England and Northwest Europe than she does. She only has 30%. Again, mine's 38%. And my Scottish is actually more than hers. And I'm assuming that's because I had got some of the DNA from my dad. Hers is only 20% Scottish. She has a lot more Irish than I do. She has 24% from Ireland, while I only have 9%. Which is kind of weird. You'd think I would have more, considering I inherited some from my dad as well. That's kind of weird. And then Norway, my aunt only has 2%, and I have the 9%. She has 10% Welsh, whereas I have 8% Welsh. And I did get some of that from my dad, so I guess my percentage, that sounds about right. And then she has 2% from a Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantus people. Well, again, I had the 1%, so that makes sense. I would only get 1%. That would be half, of my mother's. And then she also has 12% Germanic European. Again, I did not inherit any German DNA. Go figure. It's on both sides of my family, and I didn't get any. Now, I don't know if my mom actually carries any of it as well, because she hasn't taken the DNA test. Maybe one day I can convince her. And my brother. I would like to convince both of them to do the DNA test. Now, my cousin, which I'm not going to put a little screenshot up there for him, but my cousin, my aunt's son, her youngest son, took the DNA test as well. And I'll just talk about that one. Okay, so my cousin's DNA results. He is a first cousin. He is my aunt's son. He is one of my younger cousins. He got 1% more England, Northwest Europe than I did. And I'm assuming obviously it comes from his father's side as well. He got 20% Scottish, whereas I got 24%. So he must have some there on his father's as well. He had 21% Irish. Again, a lot of it must come from his father. And 6% Norwegian and 4% Welsh. He did not, however, inherit any of the Cameroon, Congo, or Western Bantu people DNA, which is interesting because I did, and we're first cousins, and you would think with his mother carrying 2%, he would at least get 1% or even a trace of it, but it's not there. So it's funny how DNA works. Even though we do have these people in our family, I didn't get any German DNA. It doesn't look like he did either. And he did not get any of the Cameroon, Congo, and Bantu people's DNA. So that's kind of interesting to look at. I know a lot of people talk about finding surprise relatives in their DNA matches and things like that. There was one sort of surprise DNA match for me. My granny's father, so my great-grandfather, he was not around in my granny's life, not really. And she was basically raised by her grandparents and her mother and stepfather for a while. But my granny's father I guess he left my great-grandmother. And he went on and married someone else later on down the line. They had a son. So that would be my granny's half brother. Okay. Well, apparently, my granny's half brother married someone else, obviously. And they had a daughter. And she popped up in my DNA results. She did message me. So Belinda, if you ever see this, hello, I'm your cousin. But she is my second to third cousin range on my father's side. And so I like to kind of look at her DNA, compare it to mine, which I find really interesting because it's not what I expected at all. So comparing her and mine, so mine again was 38%. Hers is 3% England, Northwestern Europe, and mine's 38%. That kind of surprised me because the Summerson family, which is the family that my granny was born into, I have traced them to Yorkshire, England. This is as far back as I've gotten, but she only has 3% of that DNA, so that's kind of interesting. Versus she has 45% Scotland. So, were they originally from Scotland? Maybe that's why I have more Scottish DNA than what I originally thought I was going to. But, so I only have 24% and she has 45%. Of course, some of that could possibly come from her mother. I don't know. And then it goes on, she has 50% Central Asian South. So I'm assuming her mother must be of Asian descent. And she also has 2% Germanic Europe. Again, that probably comes from her mother's side. I don't know. But, so yeah, I did have a surprise person pop up in my DNA results, my matches. And she has contacted me and we have talked a few times. But just saying hello and letting each other know who we are. And I was kind of surprised about the Scottish. But again, she is my father's first cousin, essentially, half cousin. And so she would be my second or third cousin. Alright, you guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video, just discussing a little bit about my DNA results. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell when you subscribe and hit that thumbs up. Those likes really help me a lot. And I will see y'all next time, and stay curious.